It's been a long update that's due, but I've been busy. But yeah, back at it. So what I got going on right now after the whole like end of the world shit that didn't work, me and my brother took the harness apart on the CRX and we ended up getting it to work. So it was the crank position sensor, the clip, 3 wires were holding on for dear life. So one of the wires ended up ripping off and 2 were holding on by like a strand. Well, moving forward, we're about 3 to 4 days away from Thanksgiving races. I believe there's gonna be races. So what I'm trying to do is make this a street car look. So I ended up throwing on my fenders for the Rex. I took out the carbon fibre and I just threw these on. I'm gonna paint them. I'm gonna sand them down, paint them white. And I found a bumper for $60. So I'm gonna also paint this white. Gotta sand it down, paint it white. But the issue is this. This is the weight plate for the 3-piece. That's gonna be on standby. Still got to make the tabs for the upper part of the front bumper. I got this for the rectangle tube right here. And then I got the hole drilled out with the hole saw, 38 mil, 1 1/2. Took a while, but got it done with the old trusty from Harbor Freezing. Use this for my pilot hole, little cobalt bit. Then I finished off with a 1/2-inch cobalt. So we're done here for the most part. My 120 watt DOM tube fits nice, like a glove. What up? Currently the next day, I picked up where I left off. I ended up knocking out the weight plate, so that's what it's looking like. I shortened the rectangle tubing and I got it all welded in. I got the front end to work out, so that's a good thing. But the traction bar weight plate, we had an issue. So let me pop the hood. The radiator for starters. And this right here, I had to remount. So I have this bracket here. I don't know if you can see that. It's angled. And that's nice because the radiator's not really sitting straight up. The radiator's tall to a point where it hits right there where I took out that piece. Doesn't really matter because I took out that whole piece, but in the end of the day, it hit right there. Second issue was the bolts. The bolt locations there did not match up. I don't know what I was thinking. I thought they would be the same for EG, DC, but apparently it's not. So that bolt hole on the top does not line up, but the 2 bottom ones there, they're good. So those are fastened in there. And then on this side, the driver's side, similar issue. But there's this hump that you can see there. Let me see if it comes out right there, that hump. So I had to shave that off and, you know, like get it as good as I could to fit up in there. Now my other issue, I had these tabs I originally bought them a long time ago. They ain't reaching the traction bar, so I'm gonna have to make my own. I got my tabs all made, drilled out, and I got them tacked in. So it fits nice and cool. Here's my passenger side here. They're tacked in as well. All right, that's a wrap. I got everything welded. So this is the passenger side bracket right here. Not too shabby. Driver side bracket. Just did some basic square plates up on top. Not really a big deal. I just needed to be secure. Got the radiator bracket in. That's a wrap. Everything fits perfect. So moving on to the next phase, painting the fenders and the front bumper. What up, guys? So I'm picking up on a new day here. It's, I believe, November 30th, and this is after the Turkey Day runs. Unfortunately, I didn't make the runs. I got there late, so it's just a lot of work to kind of, get the trailer ready, or the dolly, and my truck, and then the car. There was a few things that I had to do to the car, like installing the front end, and just making sure all the wheels are tight. Just things, for precautionary measures. So yeah, unfortunately I didn't make it to the runs. As I was getting there, everybody was driving off, so I said fuck it. It gives me an option to still get some seat time in and make a few test hits. That was my initial plan. If somebody was next to me, then fuck it. But yeah, so I got about 4 hits in. On video you guys should see about 3 hits. But yeah, so the car did perform pretty well, but there's a few things that I'd like to address, and the first one is the weight plate setup. So I am gonna have to revise it a little bit. I need to put this bracket here, not necessarily this one, but this style bracket. That way it bolts up to the bottom of here. Let me see if you guys can see that. It will bolt up under there. I saw the wheels have some kind of play, so the bar or the support is lifting a little bit on launch. So that's one thing that I want to address. Then lastly, I need an alignment. So the driver wheel is more out than the passenger wheel, and that's just one thing that I noticed after the pass. So as of right now, I'm currently under the car, and there's a couple things that I noticed. I'm documenting this so I can address it later, but my subframe bolts are loose. This is where I normally mount my oil belly pan, so it makes sense. Same with this side, because things could go south real quick. I was noticing when I launched the car, the wheels kind of pull up. I know I'm spherical control arms, and I know that has a roll to the wheels, I guess, moving forward like that. And I am sure I need to make an adjustment to my radius arms here. Then I see a leak here on my oil pan. I believe it's my oil pan, so I'd like to address that as well. If not, it's my rear main seal, which needs to get taken care of. Then my T bracket, I made this T bracket here. It ain't the prettiest, but it's working. I noticed the bolt is loose, so that's another thing that I need to correct. Other than that, everything's looking cool. My sway bar looks fine on both sides. Everything looks tight down here. Ball joints are tight. Control arms are tight. Tie rods are tight. Upper sway bars are tight. Yeah, everything's looking good. My axles are fine. So I gotta shorten my speed sensor. You hear that? That's my speed sensor clicking. I gotta shorten it. Lock that into place there. So I'm gonna weld it here. Have it bolts in there. Right now is what my bracket is looking like. Both of my bolts go in. I'm gonna put a bevel on this plate here, and I'm gonna zap it in with the Hobart 140. But I wanna make some gussets to come down right here. So that's a wrap for the night. It's been a long day, but I got it knocked out. I know it's only 2 tabs or whatever, but I do my best to try my best, and it's a process, you know, and I gotta practice in order to get better and to get faster, and this is just what it is. So I'm gonna show you. This right here was a 3-pass weld. The first pass was really good. I just didn't like how much material went in. It was a good amount of material, but I wanted to run a couple more passes over it. This one right here is a double pass, so it laid down pretty nice from the beginning, and then I did another pass, so that's a 2-pass weld, and then the bottom as well. So I did the gussets, and they lay down pretty nice. This welder right here is maxed out at 1/4 inch, so it lays down pretty nice on the 3/16 material. That's what this is right here. So my gussets are in there nice, and this is the passenger side. I'm telling you, it lays down really nice on the 3/16 material. I may just throw another pass in here on both sides, and then I weld the top, or I weld the bottom and the top right there on the tubing here. So that way that's pretty secure on the outer end. Same here. I'll just zap it real quick and run another pass. But yeah, it's not bad. It is a process. I am learning and I'm trying to get better. So I'm gonna continue to do the most I can for my stuff. It's basically for me. So yeah, why wouldn't I try my best? And that's just how I learn. I'm gonna continue to learn, and I'll keep pushing out more content.